Airgun launches are often judged by caliber and velocity, but those numbers can hide the design choices that actually change how a shooter uses the gun. A powerful platform can still demand expensive filling equipment, awkward tuning, or a setup built for one narrow job. A smaller airgun can be more useful if it removes the barrier that keeps people from practicing in the first place. The 5 new releases in this ranking approach innovation from completely different directions. One makes match-style pistol practice affordable. Another turns a 50 caliber rubber ball platform into a semi-automatic carbine. The remaining 3 focus on hunting power, field logistics, and extreme bench rest control. This is not a ranking of muzzle energy alone. We are judging how clearly each design solves a real problem, how useful its engineering is beyond the specification sheet, what the owner must give up, and whether the complete package moves the airgun market forward. Maximum power will not guarantee the top position. We begin at number 5 with the smallest and most accessible airgun here. Number 5 is the Umarex Verada, a 177 caliber CO2 pellet pistol built around affordable target practice. It is not trying to compete with a premium Olympic air pistol, and it does not have the pressure system or tuning range of the PCP rifles later in this list. Its strength is much simpler. The Verada gives a new shooter a low-cost way to practice trigger control, sight alignment, breathing, and follow-through without buying a pump, compressor, or carbon fiber tank. One standard 12-gram CO2 cartridge powers the pistol. Umarex rates it for up to 40 shots per cartridge, so a single capsule can support several 9-shot magazines before the power supply needs to be replaced. That makes the preparation routine easy to understand. Insert the cartridge, load the magazine, and begin practicing. There is no fill pressure to monitor, and no external air equipment to transport. The rifled barrel is designed for 177 caliber pellets rather than steel BBs. With a 7-grain pellet, maximum velocity is listed at 490 feet per second. That is enough for paper targets and casual plinking at appropriate distances, but the real value is not the speed. A rifled pellet barrel gives the Verada a more precision-focused identity than a smoothbore recreational BB pistol. The bolt action feeds from a 9-shot auto-indexing rotary magazine. Because the magazine advances automatically, the shooter does not need to manually rotate it for each pellet. The pistol still requires the bolt to be operated between shots, and that deliberate rhythm suits its purpose. It encourages the shooter to rebuild the sight picture instead of rushing through the magazine. The sighting system is more flexible than its price might suggest. A fixed front blade and adjustable rear notch allow the pistol to be used immediately with iron sights. A Picatinny rail above the barrel also accepts a compatible dot sight. That option matters for shooters who struggle to keep the rear sight, front sight, and target clear at the same time. The optic does not replace good trigger technique, but it can remove a visual barrier that makes practice frustrating. Umarex also gives the Verada an ambidextrous match-style grip, a threaded muzzle, and a published weight of about 1.82 pounds. At roughly $75, it occupies a very different ownership category from specialized 10-meter pistols costing hundreds or thousands more. The Verada is best understood as an accessible trainer with competition-inspired ergonomics, not certified Olympic equipment. Its limits are equally clear. CO2, pressure responds to temperature, so velocity can change as conditions become colder or the pistol is fired rapidly. The trigger, grip adjustments, and mechanical refinement cannot be expected to match a true high-end competition pistol. It is also a target and plinking platform, not a hunting substitute for the more powerful rifles ahead. That narrow mission keeps the Verada at number 5, but it also makes the product honest. It lowers the cost and equipment barrier to disciplined pellet pistol practice. The next entry moves in the opposite direction, using a much larger projectile and a semi-automatic action to create an entirely different kind of range experience. At number 4 is the Hatsan Repex T50, a semi-automatic PCP carbine designed around 50 caliber rubber balls. The caliber sounds enormous, but the diameter should not be confused with the energy of a 50 caliber hunting rifle. This is a controlled impact and recreational platform intended for compatible rubber projectiles. Its technical achievement is rapid, repeatable cycling, not big game power. Semi-automatic operation creates a difficult air management problem. Every shot must launch the projectile while the system also maintains enough pressure and mechanical energy to cycle reliably. A manual side lever rifle can devote its stored air mainly to the projectile, because the shooter performs the loading work. The Repex T50 must balance both functions inside a finite reservoir. Hatsan uses a 165 cubic centimeter cylinder filled to 250 bar. The rifle configuration pairs that air supply with a 17.5-inch barrel and a 5-shot magazine. Maximum velocity is listed at 650 feet per second, while maximum energy is 15 foot-pounds. Those figures define the Repex T50 more accurately than caliber alone. It fires a broad, relatively light rubber ball at moderate energy for training and recreational use where permitted. The 5-round magazine can be emptied quickly because the action does not require manual cycling between shots. That reduces interruption during target transitions and makes the carbine feel very different from the Verada. The Verada slows the shooter down and rewards deliberate repetition. The Repex encourages a faster rhythm, but its small magazine still forces regular pauses for reloading. High-pressure air also gives the system an advantage over common CO2 launchers during repeated firing. CO2 depends on a liquid-to-gas phase change and can lose pressure as the cartridge cools. A PCP reservoir does not behave in exactly the same way, so it is better suited to consistent rapid strings. That does not prove identical velocity from the first shot to the last, but it removes one familiar source of temperature-related performance change. Hatsan includes both telescoping and folding buttstocks, allowing the owner to choose between adjustable shoulder fit and compact storage. Adjustable fiber optic sights are supplied, and the combination accessory rail supports both 11mm and 22mm mounts. That dual interface makes it easier to reuse an optic without immediately buying an adapter. The side lever and semi-automatic operating options make the platform unusual, but the Repex T50 still has important limits. 5 shots disappear quickly in a fast-firing carbine. A 650 feet per second rubber ball will follow a more curved trajectory than a smaller, faster pellet, so distance estimation becomes increasingly important. 15 foot-pounds also means that the .50 caliber label should never be presented as evidence of hunting rifle performance. Price is another consideration. The T50 family is listed at roughly $515 to $550. That places it well above simple CO2 rubber ball launchers. The buyer is paying for the PCP reservoir, semi-automatic system, rifle configuration, and accessory support. Whether that is worthwhile depends on how much the user values repeatability and fast follow-up shots. Number 4 fits the Repex T50 because the engineering is genuinely interesting, but the use case remains specialized. It solves the cycling problem well enough to create a distinctive range platform. It does not offer the energy, general utility, or broad tuning capability found in the top 3. The Umarex Tusk takes number 3 because it turns high-pressure air into genuine big-bore hunting performance. It is a .357 caliber regulated PCP rifle with a 500 cubic centimeter carbon fiber bottle, an 8-shot rotary magazine, and a 28-inch barrel. Unlike the Repex T50, the Tusk uses its large projectile diameter as part of a serious energy system rather than a moderate power recreational platform. Its bullpup architecture places the action behind the trigger. That arrangement gives Umarex room for the long barrel without making the rifle even longer than its published overall length of 41.75 inches. The barrel uses a 1 in 43 twist rate, and the long air path gives compressed air time to continue accelerating the projectile before it exits. The bottle fills to 4,350 psi, while the regulator operates at 3,250 psi. The regulator does not send the entire reservoir pressure behind every projectile. It reduces that stored pressure to a controlled working level, helping the rifle deliver a more repeatable charge while the bottle remains above the regulator set point. With an 82-grain pellet, Current specifications list a maximum velocity of 1,085 feet per second. With a 100-grain/slug, maximum energy is listed at 228 foot-pounds. Those figures replace the earlier prototype-style claims attached to heavier projectiles. They also show why caliber alone is a poor comparison. The Tusk is smaller in diameter than the Repex T50, yet it delivers many times more energy because the projectile, barrel, valve system, and operating pressure are designed for a completely different purpose. The 8-shot side lever action gives an experienced hunter access to a follow-up shot without the air demands and complexity of a semi-automatic big-bore system. 2 magazines are included. The Picatinny rail accepts a hunting optic, while the adjustable cheek piece and adjustable length of pull help position the shooter behind that optic. An M18x1 muzzle thread provides an interface for a compatible airgun moderator where lawful. The Tusk is powerful, but it is not light. Published weight is just over 10 pounds before adding an optic, rings, ammunition, or a sling. The bullpup layout contains the 28-inch barrel, yet the complete rifle still measures more than 41 inches. That makes it better suited to supported positions, blinds, or deliberate field setups than long periods of unsupported carry. The filling requirement is another major ownership cost. 4,350 psi demands a compressor, pump, tank, and fittings rated for that pressure. A lower pressure filling system may not be able to use the rifle's full capacity. High regulator pressure and heavy ammunition also mean that air management matters, even with a 500 cubic centimeter bottle. At roughly $880, the Tusk is not an entry-level experiment. It is for an experienced air gunner who understands projectile selection, safe filling, local hunting regulations, and the limitations of a heavy big-bore rifle. Power does not automatically make a shot ethical or legal. The shooter still needs an appropriate projectile, verified accuracy, suitable distance, and permission for the species and location. The Tusk earns number 3 because its design choices point toward one clear result: substantial hunting energy from a regulated repeating air rifle. But that performance brings weight, cost, noise, and a demanding fill system. Would you accept that infrastructure for maximum field energy, or choose a lower-powered rifle that is easier to keep supplied away from home? Number 2 is built around that exact decision. Taking number 2 is the Umarex Outpost, a 25 caliber rifle that attacks one of the largest barriers in PCP ownership. A conventional PCP can work beautifully at home and become difficult to support when the shooter travels beyond a compressor, a high-pressure tank, or a place to refill that tank. The Outpost does not eliminate compressed gas. It gives the owner 2 ways to bring that gas into the field. The rifle includes a 250 cubic centimeter PCP cylinder that fills to 3,625 psi. It can also use Umarex NitroAir cartridges pre-charged with nitrogen. The conventional cylinder can be refilled from normal PCP equipment, while the disposable cartridge can be installed without operating a hand pump or carrying a compressor. That makes the second system especially relevant for camping, remote pest control, emergency preparation, or any trip where electrical power and filling stations are uncertain. Nitrogen behaves differently from CO2. CO2 pressure is tied closely to temperature because liquid inside the cartridge must change into gas. Rapid firing can cool the cartridge and reduce pressure. NitroAir stores nitrogen as a high-pressure gas, avoiding that same phase change. The Outpost then uses an internal regulator set to 1,800 psi to deliver a controlled working pressure from either supply option. Umarex rates the rifle at up to 830 feet per second and up to 38 foot-pounds of energy. Because published material has paired those figures with both 24 and 25 grain pellets, the safest way to understand them is as separate maximum ratings, rather than a guaranteed result from every pellet. Actual energy will depend on projectile weight and measured velocity from the individual rifle. The rest of the platform supports portable field use. The Outpost weighs about 4.74 pounds and uses a 22-inch barrel. Its stock reduces overall length from roughly 37.5 inches when extended to about 28.5 inches when folded. That is a meaningful storage difference. allowing the rifle to fit into cases or vehicle compartments that would not accept it at full length. A 13-shot rotary magazine provides more capacity than the Tusk or Repex T50, and the rifle includes 2 magazines plus a single shot tray. 1 spare magazine can be stored in the buttstock. That detail sounds minor until equipment is being carried through brush or packed into a vehicle. Keeping the spare attached to the rifle reduces the chance of leaving it in a separate pouch. The adjustable cheek rest helps establish optic alignment, and the extended Picatinny rail leaves room for a scope. M-lock slots on both sides of the handguard support compatible accessories. A 1/2 by 20 threaded muzzle accepts an appropriate moderator where permitted. The combination creates a light rifle that can be configured for target shooting, pest control, or lawful small game use, without becoming overloaded with proprietary mounting hardware. The dual fuel concept still has a financial trade-off. NitroAir cartridges are disposable and proprietary. They remove the filling task only while replacements are available, and repeated cartridge purchases can eventually cost more than filling the reusable cylinder. The smartest ownership model may be to use the conventional tank for routine practice and reserve NitroAir for travel or situations where portability matters most. The rifle is also limited to 25 caliber. Buyers looking for inexpensive 177 practice, heavier big-bore energy, or a multi-caliber tuning platform will need another design. Its listed price of about $373 is approachable for a regulated rifle with 2 power options, but the real cost should include the owner's chosen supply method. That is why the Outpost reaches number 2. It does not outperform the Tusk in energy or the Repex in firing speed. It ranks higher because it changes the ownership experience. Instead of assuming every PCP owner will always have filling infrastructure nearby, the rifle provides a practical alternative when that assumption fails. Number 1 is the Macavity Arms MA8. It wins because no other platform here combines the same regulator control, barrel compatibility, caliber preparation, shooter fit, and bench rest adjustment in one system. The Outpost changes how a rifle is supplied. The Tusk concentrates on hunting energy. The MA8 gives an experienced shooter control over more parts of the performance equation. Its TrueClick regulator adjusts externally from 600 to 3,200 psi. Each audible and tactile click changes the setting by 1 bar, or about 14.5 psi. Pressure can move up or down without degassing the rifle. A tuner can test a setting, record the clicks, and return to it without emptying the bottle every time. The reservoir holds 680 cubic centimeters and fills to 4,350 psi. In 30 caliber, the 500mm configuration is listed at up to 70 optimal shots, while the 700mm version is listed at up to 46. Maximum energy is 206 foot-pounds in 30 caliber. Macavity includes probes for 177, 22, 25, 30, and 35 caliber. But a probe does not complete a conversion. The owner still needs a compatible barrel, magazine, ammunition, and safe tune. The 206 foot-pound rating belongs to the current 30 caliber setup and must not be transferred to the 35 caliber probe. The barrel system is a major reason the MA8 takes first place. Its MSR interface is compatible with FX barrel systems, opening an established ecosystem instead of one limited catalog. Factory configurations currently list 500 and 700mm barrels with carbon fiber shrouds, a 1/2 by 20 threaded muzzle, and a modular moderator. Power adjustment extends beyond the regulator. An indexed hammer spring makes changes visible and repeatable, while the slingshot hammer system is designed to reduce hammer bounce and wasted air. The controls create a wide tuning envelope, but regulator pressure, hammer energy, barrel length, caliber, and projectile choice still interact. More adjustment does not guarantee a better tune. The electronic 2-stage trigger separates its pull characteristics from hammer spring tension, supporting a consistent break across power settings. Its rechargeable battery is rated for more than 10,000 shots, although electronics add a dependency absent from the mechanical Tusk and Outpost. Shooter fit receives similar attention. The grip slides along the Arca Swiss lower rail to change hand position and trigger reach. On a bench rest rifle, a poor finger angle can push the chassis sideways at release. Moving the grip helps the shooter find a straighter press. The upper Picatinny and Weaver rail offers adjustable angle, helping manage long-range optics setup without relying entirely on the scope's internal elevation range. The MA8 is not effortless to own. Depending on barrel length, it weighs about 8.4 to 8.9 pounds before an optic. Its 4,350 psi fill carries the same infrastructure burden as the Tusk. Without a chronograph, reliable ammunition, and disciplined testing, the wide adjustment range creates more ways to build a poor tune. Depending on configuration, price runs from roughly $1,660 to $1,710. Extra barrels, magazines, optics, and filling equipment raise the total. This is not for someone who wants to make no measurements and never revisit the setup. That complexity is also why the MA8 wins. The Verada reduces the entry barrier. The Repex T50 delivers semi-automatic recreation. The Tusk provides hunting energy. And the Outpost changes field logistics. The MA8 connects a measurable regulator, indexed hammer adjustment, compatible barrel ecosystem, electronic trigger, movable grip, adjustable optic rail, and serious power in one bench rest platform. It does not eliminate compromise. It lets a knowledgeable shooter decide which compromise to make. These 5 airguns prove that innovation is no longer moving in one direction. The Verada lowers the barrier to target practice. The Repex T50 delivers semi-automatic speed. The Tusk brings serious hunting energy, while the Outpost rethinks how a PCP rifle stays supplied away from home. The Macavity Arms MA8 takes number 1 because it gives an experienced shooter the widest control over pressure, barrel configuration, caliber preparation, trigger behavior, shooter fit, and optic setup. It demands more money, equipment, and tuning knowledge, but its complete system advances the performance ceiling further than any single-purpose feature here. Which matters more to you, the Outpost's fuel flexibility, the Tusk's hunting power, or the MA8's tuning range? Subscribe for more rankings based on how airguns actually work, and I will see you in the next one.